You're listening to TG1F, an F1 podcast with Kate and Nicole.
We're your hosts. I'm Kate.
And I'm Nicole.
And this is our show, where we talk about all things Formula One.
And a lot of things that are not Formula One, too.
Because why the heck not?
This is your formal invitation to a weekly hangout with your F1 BFFs, where we'll talk on-track action, off-track gossip, and throw in some hot pop culture topics.
It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned F1 fan, a curious newbie, or literally just think the drivers are hot. Because they are. There's a little something in this podcast for everyone.
Speaking of which, did you hear what happened this week?
No, tell me about it.
When I tell you I'm brain dead, like I actually have not a single, if I only had a brain, you know, fitting with the theme of this week, if I only had a brain.
Sort of an Easter egg from a previous podcast episode right here. If you know, you know.
Sort of an Easter egg.
sort of an Easter egg. I am in my parents' basement. So excuse the background. I'm sitting on my grandma's entire apartment is in this basement. After she passed away, we have it all down here. So it's like a
kind of like
an apartment from the 60s down here.
Kind of love that.
All we need is the wood paneling, and it would be like a real Midwestern basement.
And like a bar.
Yeah.
Serving like Yingling.
Yeah, exactly.
And some cheese.
I'm sure we have 10,000 bottles of Yingling in our fridge. So
I'm dead. I sat down to set up for this podcast and I said, do I even remember what happened in Vegas? I was scrolling through our shared album and I got to things that we did in the first day or two. And I said, wow, I actually forgot about that part.
I know I was trying to find I was trying to find videos and like photos of some things to like make the recap reel or dump. And I was like, when did this happen? I was like trying to figure out the timeline and I'm like, when was this? I thought this was on day 1, but it was actually on like day 4? What do you mean? What's happening?
I'm just trying to turn this light off. It's bothering me. There it goes.
She said, enough of the flashing lights. I cannot take any more bright lights, any more colored lights.
Too much stimulation. Like, oh my God.
I will say this year in Vegas, I felt incredibly overstimulated compared to last year.
Because here's the thing is we didn't know what to expect last year. So we kind of went in.
No expectations, completely blind. And I had also never even been to Vegas.
Also, last year, like we had a lot of things to do, but it was kind of like self-inflicted stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like there was nothing really that we had to do last year other than the paddock with Alfa Romeo on Thursday. That was like the only thing we had to do.
Yeah.
Last year. And this year, there were so many things that we had to do. And I feel like this year, like here's the thing is last year we took ourselves to Vegas last year. Like we just decided to go and we had like one night with Alpha and like, but we had no like deliverables. Like we didn't have to create any content.
Yeah.
Like that we were not contracted to create content for anyone last year. So we just kind of were like dicking around and like whatever videos and photos we took were the videos and photos we took. Like, whereas this year we had things to do. Like we had like contractual obligations.
We were working.
This was a work trip. This was a business trip for the girls. And I think that's why we were so overstimulated because we were just like, okay, we like have things to do.
Actually, if the IRS is listening, this was not a work trip. We didn't get anything out of this. Just kidding.
The IRS, if you're listening, just don't anymore. But yeah, it was like I feel like we were just stressed because we were like, okay, we actually like have to show up and show out here. Like we have to like do things. And that just added like obviously like a little pressure of like, all right, I gotta make sure that we do it right. And we had more people with us this year. Like we were rolling squad deep the whole weekend. So we were like, we also want to make sure like everyone has a good time because like I mean the biggest takeaway I got from this weekend was doing what we do is so much fun because I love to like be able to like let other people experience cool things. Like I love to be able to take our friends with us and be like, here, like you've been a great friend or you've helped us a lot. Like, I want you to like experience this really cool weekend and like do the cool things that we get to do and like kind of see what it's like. And that was so fun. But
Yeah.
also like there's I felt like I was like hosting.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was like, I want to make sure everyone's having fun. How
Mhm.
are the vibes? Is everyone happy? Okay, no one's happy right now. We got to get the vibes up. What are we doing? Gonna make everyone go outside and like look at the sun for a couple minutes, breathe some oxygen. Like, let's get the vibes back up because I don't want anyone to not have fun.
Yeah.
So I feel like that added to like the pressure.
It definitely did. I'll tell you what. So,
We also, here's the thing: we didn't eat a single meal. We
no.
didn't eat.
I mean, last year either. I'm trying the only dinner we ate was at that Italian restaurant, remember?
Yeah,
And we made our own rosé.
yeah.
Anyway, long story short, Vegas
Anyways,
was really fun.
it was
It's
really
just
fun.
very tiring if you have to work the whole time. So,
Yes.
I think our sentiment still stands from last year that Vegas is a really fun race, even if you don't have tickets.
I would
Uh,
almost say maybe especially if you don't have tickets.
yeah,
Because I don't know. I just feel like it's I always think it's more fun to watch the race like on TV. I think we've always said that about like where to get tickets when you go to a race is like find tickets where you can see the racing, but you also have like a TV nearby so that you can like actually see what's going on because like no matter what, wherever you're sitting, if you're actually at a race, you have no idea what's going on in the race.
right.
Like you
Yeah,
have the cars are just driving by and you're like, I don't know if anyone's lapped. I don't know if this is the right order. I don't know who's doing what. Like they're going too fast. You can't really see the number. So like you need to be able to like also see a TV that has like at least the leaderboard so you like know what's going
yeah,
on. Um so I think that Vegas is really nice because you just feel so involved in the race weekend even if you're only watching on a TV. Like
yeah.
if not like a sports book or even if you're in your hotel room, like it doesn't matter. Like you just still feel involved.
Yeah,
And I think that that's like really special
yeah,
about this race.
yeah. I agree.
But I think all in all, we had a really great time. And I know we got a lot of questions. So like I
Mhm.
did put a question box up so we can go through and answer. Oh, you got it
Yeah,
up.
I got it up. I got the
'Cause
questions up.
a lot of people were asking, like, I feel like the biggest question we got asked like multiple times was like, how did our experience this year differ from if we were not
VIPs.
content creators in this space? And I think like there were definitely some things that we did that we wouldn't have been able to do without getting like invites and working with brands. So like we stayed at the Venetian for free. Like
Mhm.
they comped our rooms, we were working with them, we were creating content for them. And but I mean anyone else. So I feel like let's just break it down by things that we did. We stay at the
Yeah.
Venetian. Anyone can do that. Anyone can stay at the Venetian.
And I
And
will say some people asked, "Could you see the track from your room?" Which I didn't learn until the last hour that I was in that room that I actually you could see the track from
yeah,
our room. But I don't think it would have been very enjoyable if you were trying to watch from your room. Like, it was far
right.
enough
Like you
away
could
that it
see it and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's cool." Like if you had the TV on and you were like, "What?" And but you were like, "I just want to see at least see one car." Like you could see it in the distance. But
Yeah.
I know that there were definitely rooms around the strip that like you could see the racing from your
Mhm.
hotel room. It feels like they weren't as strict this year about like blocking rooms that had strip views, which are track views, which is good. So yeah, anyone could stay at the Venetian like we did. Anyone could go to the restaurants that we went to in the Venetian, and especially anyone could go to like the F1 pop-ups and things at the hotel that we went to. So there was like an Alpine car in the lobby that you could see, and obviously it's in the lobby, anyone can see that. There was like the F1 hub, which is the big merch shop. Anyone could go there. We went to the Fan Fest, and I guess not everyone could go to the Fan Fest. You
Well,
had to have bought tickets, but I
you had to
wasn't
have
really
bought
clear
tickets.
on that.
Yeah, but then when we were standing outside, you like, there was a security guy directing people to the ticket booth. And they were
Mm,
like, "Oh, I thought it was sold out." And he was like, "Yeah, that's what they said." So, you could still buy tickets there.
interesting.
Well, buy. They were free. You just had to, like, get tickets.
Yeah,
I think it truly was just for crowd control. Like, I think it
yeah,
was just to ensure that
it did get
throughout the
crazy.
day, it wasn't, like, so insanely packed and then so empty.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But the Fan Fest was really fun, and there was some really cool brands doing cool stuff. There was like like an F1 museum. I didn't take too good a look, so don't quote me on what it was called. But it was like a museum of sorts where there was a bunch of cars that you could look at. The Dermalogica
Mhm.
experience was awesome. Um, and we did that, and that was really fun. So anyone could have done that. That's something, and I think that they'll probably keep doing that because they didn't have that last year.
No.
But I feel like now that they saw that it was successful this year, they'll keep doing it. Um, I think really one of the only like some of the only things that we did that like throughout the weekend that people couldn't have done was the Venetian viewing platform where we watched all 3 nights from. That was invite only. So like
Well,
unless
for
you're
us,
working
but I
or
think that you could have bought tickets.
no.
Oh.
The Venetian viewing platform is invite only.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's full of
Sponsors.
sponsors, and each sponsor gets like a certain amount of tickets that they have to give out or something like that. So people can't go on that. And the like meet and greet with Pierre was the I think those were the only things that we did that people couldn't have done,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, everything else that we did.
And, yeah, 'cause like anyone could have gone to Flippers. Like
Mhm.
I think a lot of it was very. I feel like lived a very reasonable. We lived a very reasonable lifestyle in Vegas, very attainable lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing is we did have a garage tour
True that,
with
yeah,
Alpine, which was something that not everyone is able to do. But like basically it wasn't really a garage tour. We like went up through the paddock club and then came down and went through the garage. We like went through the paddock basically for like 30 seconds to get into the garage, but then we were out in the pit lane walk, which any anyone can buy tickets for. You just have to
yeah,
get paddock club. So
yeah,
it was like really fine, I would say, in terms of things that we were able to achieve
100%.
this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, you guys, you could be us too.
Mm.
This
Here's
isn't
what
just girls.
it's so funny. There's a lot of discourse happening on TikTok, which you're not really on there, so you haven't
Oh,
seen.
fill me in.
But I I caused a little bit of a tizzy as one does. But
Oh, what did you do?
okay. So I was
What did you do?
I sent you a screenshot of this TikTok. And people are really pressed on F1 TikTok right now about Haley Bailey. And I don't know if you know who this is. She rose to prominence via TikTok. She's was a Sports Illustrated model. She's kind of a nepo baby, like whatever. But
Where are we?
yeah, yeah, from one nepo baby to the other, we get it. But she was invited to the F1 race this weekend, and I don't know in what capacity. I think I have her blocked. So like I don't actually see anything that she does.
Okay.
Um, but she was there and there was a lot of conversation about how she was like they asked her who did she think was going to win, and she was like, "Well, I'm going to pick the driver based on who has the best thirst traps this weekend." And I wanna tell you, some of the girlies were acting like men. Some
Oh
of the
yeah.
girlies were acting like male gatekeepers on this app. They were like, "How dare she? How dare she say that? Us female content creators have been working so hard to get access, and this is she makes it a joke." And I was like, I commented and I said, hey guys, like no need to really gatekeep. Like there's room for everyone to like the sport and the way that we want to. Like all love, heart emoji. And people are like, well, she's objectifying them. And again, I'm not going to argue nuance in the TikTok comment section because if you don't understand what objectification objectively means, I'm not going to teach you that in the TikTok comment section. So I literally replied and I was like, "Yeah, I mean it's black and white. I don't think that she only views them as a sex object. So like I think we're taking one comment out of context. Like I simply don't agree with that sentiment, but I'm really glad that you don't want them to be objectified because neither do I." And so as everyone was just coming for my throat on that one. But I'll let you know that I commented on my personal, not on two girls. So
Thank God.
can't
I
be
was like,
canceled
oh
for that.
no, you didn't even bring me in on this. I was like, you didn't bring in PR support.
No, this was a personal choice on my own. But I was like, it was like 500 people have viewed your profile, and I was like, yeah, you're not getting anything out of me. But it's just so interesting because I don't think there were so many content creators there this weekend, which I love to see. Like,
Yes.
I think about how far we've come in the past couple of years and like where we started, and we always talk about this. Um, but it's definitely not easy work. Like we saw many of our content creator friends this weekend who had a lot of horror stories to say about how it was working with the track, with F1, with other partners this weekend. Like I feel really lucky that we had a wonderful partner with the Venetian and
Yeah.
Alpine,
Yeah.
but it's not always the case. And a lot of these younger girls and people get into trying to be F1 content creators because they want access and they want this notoriety. And I'm like, guys, be careful what you wish for
Oh, truly.
because it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it's crying because you can't actually do the things that you want to do and the things that you love most about this sport. And so just be careful about making your passions into a job because it's not the grass is not always greener. I'll tell you that. And I'm not complaining. This is not me
Yeah.
complaining, but I just want to say like setting realistic expectations that yeah, unfortunately people who do have 5 million followers on TikTok and on Instagram are going to get access in places
Yeah.
that low level content creators who might have a lot of engagement, we're just not going to see that access, unfortunately. And like, that doesn't mean that the work that you're doing is not valued and important. But I also think that it's important to have realistic expectations about who's getting access to what. Kate and I
Yeah.
have been around the block for a long period of time and still we're, super excited to work with like anyone who wants to work with us because we're like, "Yay! We're so happy." So,
Yeah.
just
But also, flip side, Nicole and I have been around the block, been doing this for all, and we still don't get invited to things.
yeah,
So like, it
it
happens.
it happens and so it's like I, the whole reason Kate and I got into the sport and started building this community was that because we wanted female fans of any type to be able to have a safe space. And so, yes, I can see how it can be annoying from that point of view that Haley Bailey got invited and got this access. And she seemingly made an offhanded comment, which I think was taken out of context. And she basically said that it was a joke, which that's fine. We joke about that all the time. And also, they post those photos. It's not like we're
Right.
stealing them. Um, and I can see how sometimes it can be frustrating, right? But it's
Yeah.
also like the whole point of liking the sport in the way that you want to like the sport is that it should be accepted no matter what.
Yes.
So that's all I'll say about that. I just am a little tired of this.
I'm tired of the
uh,
discourse. I'm
I'm
tired of the
tired. Yeah, I'm tired of the discourse, and I'm tired especially of it coming from other women
yeah.
specifically.
Yeah, there, I feel like we heard a couple stories this weekend too. Like in all, it was very fun for us to see other content creator friends. Like we don't actually get to see them outside
Hmm.
of the internet very often. So it's very fun to see. First of all, I was obsessed with everyone that we saw. Everyone's like, "How are you doing?" Because I'm really tired. Like everyone is just like tired. But it was like so great to see everyone because we love them all. But I feel like it was very sad. We did hear a couple stories about people like there was just like some women that were not being super supportive, and that's just
Hmm.
always like such a bummer because it's like, come on, like
Yeah.
gotta stick together. We gotta just like be all on the same page and like you don't need to like everyone but you do need to respect
Hmm.
everyone, and I think that that is like that's just like the key. Like, I feel like that's like the golden rule. Like nobody's ever gonna say you have to like everyone,
No,
but
but
you do need to respect
you
people.
can
Like
be
you do need to
kind.
just be kind and respectful and just like not mean.
Yeah. But listen, there's always going to be
That's it.
mean girls, and they're always going to think that they're better than everyone. And we're simply not naming names on this podcast, but you guys can try and figure out who could potentially be the problem.
You guys can create the burn book for us.
Anyway, Vegas was great. Someone said, "What's all the influencer tea?" That's the influencer tea. Everyone is tired,
Yeah.
and no one is getting paid what they deserve. I'll
No.
tell you that.
Tell you that.
So be kind to your local F1 content creator because we're tired.
We're tired.
All right, let's get into some of these questions
Yeah,
because I
hit
think
me.
there are some good ones. Do you feel that there are enough activations/driver events for non-VIPs versus Austin? 100%. Like we
Yes.
said, we didn't go early enough, but I saw, like, as we were flying in on Wednesday, I was like catching up on all the Tuesday activations. Almost every driver, there was like driver meet and greets
Yeah.
across the town, across the city.
Yeah.
You could have probably met any one of the drivers that you wanted to. You probably just had to stand in a long line.
And the other thing is, if we're gonna compare that to Austin, everything is in one spot basically in Vegas. Not like one spot. Like you do need to like walk or take an Uber or something, but like it's so much more, everything is more easily accessible, and I feel as though like most things are pretty like consolidated to a few properties. So like
Yeah.
the Venetian, the Bellagio, um the Wynn, and maybe Caesar's Palace like have like most of the things, and like the Aria I think
MGM
has.
and Aria. So it's very much like you can walk to all of the places.
Yeah.
So yes, and I would say there's even more because more brands wanted to come to Vegas
Yeah.
than Austin. So again, like we said, all like we said last year, like we were saying again, like Vegas is the place to be even if you don't get tickets because there's so much to do and makes you feel like
And there
you're
are
part of the weekend.
so many hotels
Yeah.
that like you're gonna be able to find a hotel for a decent price,
Yeah.
like, and especially if you like book ahead of time or you book kind of last minute, like hotel prices go down. You
Yeah.
just don't want to do it like in the like frenzy of like when people are going. Even if you book one ahead of time that has like a good cancellation policy, and then you look again when you get closer and you book a new room for a lower price, like
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
I think it's like, yeah, I think it's the best one.
Someone said, "How are the track bathrooms?" Unfortunately, we didn't have track bathrooms. We went inside the casino. So
Yeah.
sorry, can't answer that one. Okay, this one's fun. This is unrelated to Las Vegas Grand Prix, but she says, "I'm being unhinged, but please assign 3 of the drivers to be Reese, Cassian, and Azriel."
um
I think Lewis is my Azriel.
oh, that's cute.
Kind of quiet and reserved, and like he moves with a certain air about him that like
Hmm.
he
I
kind
like
of upon first glance you think that he might be like soft, but don't fuck with him. You know what I mean?
yeah. I think I'm going Carlos for Cassian.
Okay. The vibes feel right. Even
Like, because he's silly, he's goofy, but he's also like we've seen him work out.
yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say because that also could be Franco. I feel like Franco has the personality of Cassian, you know?
Hmm.
He's kind of a silly, goofy guy. I'm simply not going off looks on any of them because like I don't
No.
think that any of them fit the vibe. I'm gonna be unhinged here. I'm gonna say Alonso for Resand.
What?
And again, it's not based on looks. It's not based on anything other than just like simply vibes. In the
Okay.
sense in the sense that we, especially me, I used to be a huge Alonso hater. I was Alonso's number one op. I was like, fuck this guy. That's me. That's Feyre in book 1. Okay. Now I think Alonso is phenomenal. And I think that he's really funny and he's really great. And that's Feyre book 2 when she learns about how Reese has just been kind of putting on a front.
I'm sorry, I can't take it seriously. That was unhinged. Actually, like,
Okay, I don't
can't.
think none of these are serious. None of
I
these are
know, but I just,
serious.
like
Like, what do you want me to say? Lance Stroll? Esteban
No.
Ocon?
I'm dead. See, I would probably put
You're gonna say
Lewis as
Charles.
No, I would probably put Lewis as Reese
Okay.
because I think he is, like, he's always thinking. He's always 10 steps ahead. Like, he's gonna do what he needs to do. He used to be a big asshole, but then he went through his own set of trials, and now he is the most powerful F1 driver. And
Maybe not for long.
I think he's very wise. And well, we don't know what ends up happening to Resanda, right? The series isn't over
You're so right.
at the moment.
I meant more like Lewis.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
You were like, well, not for long, but also could also not for long be the most powerful
You're
High
so
Lord.
right. You're so right.
Sorry, Fair is actually probably a more powerful High Lady.
Probably.
Yeah. So I think I would probably put Lewis for Reese, Carlos for Cassian, and who's moving in silence? Who's moving in silence? Let me think. I'm literally searching my brain for like who the drivers are. I forget them all. Okay, I'll be unhinged on this one. Max Asriel.
Okay.
Dramatic childhood.
Hmm.
Dad who maybe hates him. Very quiet. No one kind of knows what he's like. He also feels very cold, but has a very soft side of him. And he also owns 2 cats, aka Nuala and Karen.
The shadows are his cats. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, next question. Sorry, I'm scrolling through.
Well,
Someone said, "Did you see Pierre's tripod?"
I know.
Guys.
I saw that. I said
Okay, everyone
it
wants us
can't
everyone
address.
wants us to speak on the Pierre situation.
Guys, he doesn't know about the inside joke that he is supposedly a part of, or we didn't get to address it with him.
We didn't get to address it. The problem is that here's the deal. It was a very awkward situation because basically we know how much he hates doing these things, right? Like he had to show up for a sponsor obligation.
And we
And
were there.
we were there. And
We were
so the
part of
whole
it.
time we were kind of like, actually, like, don't look at us. Like, don't perceive us.
Don't think that we're part of this.
Like, actually, we are girl reading book in the audience. We were like, actually, we're not like other girls. We're like not like the other people here. Okay. We want you to know that.
Because we thought that this was gonna be like because it was at the viewing platform, so it was like a private area, and we thought it was gonna be more something like we're all kind of like milling about,
Yeah, like
and he maybe
mingling.
comes and says something like, oh, thanks for supporting me, whatever, and then just kind of like mingles around, because we did also like a meet and greet with Botas and Joe last year, and like we literally had like dinner with them basically. And
Yeah.
we're just like kind of vibing and like asking questions and like hanging out. So I kind of thought it was gonna be more like that. So we were just like, okay, we're just kind of like vibing here on the side, like we're just chilling. He doesn't have to come over to us right away. Like we'll have a couple minutes with him at some point and it'll be fine. And then first of all, he was late. Also, second of all, S1 didn't show up. Hysterical. So Pierre comes. Everyone's like, okay, Pierre's here. But before he came, they said, this is when I started having the creepy crawlies in my heart. Is they said, all right, we're just gonna get set up for when he gets here. Everyone start forming a line. And I said, I don't know if I really want to be in a line. So we're in this line. We're trying not to be in line, but we're kind of in line, but we're trying not to look like we're in line. Because I was like, I actually feel very embarrassed about being in a line. I don't know what about being in a line is like so mortifying.
Being in a line to meet a celebrity, like I'm a New Yorker, like I don't fucking wait in line to get into the top bar or restaurant in the city. Like I'm not waiting in line. Like that's so embarrassing. That's so cringe. Like I have better things to do.
I've only once in my life waited in like a line to meet a celebrity.
Who was
I
it?
don't even do it at Disney World to meet the freaking characters.
Who,
What were you saying?
who was the celebrity?
Oh, I met Red Jumpsuit Apparatus in 2007 at Kiss concert because
For
I bought
me, it was Kim and Kourtney Kardashian.
iconic. Yeah, I went to Kiss concert. It was in my big Red Jumpsuit Apparatus phase, and they were there, and I missed their set, and so I was very upset. My friend, we got there, and I was like, "They're playing," and she's like, "I have to go in the bathroom," and I was like, "I'm gonna kill you." And we got to our seats, and they had just finished. So, anyways, I bought their mom bought me their CD as a
Uh,
sorry,
as
an
a sorry.
apology. Yeah, because I was like, this is actually the only reason I'm here. I don't give a fuck about anyone else. And so she bought me their CD, and she bought me the version that came with
The
an
meet and greet.
autograph. So I got
Amazing.
to like so I had to like stand in line, and then I like walked down the line to get autographs from them all, which was fine because I was like 10, and so
Mhm.
I didn't actually care. But I've never waited in a line or paid to meet a celebrity after
No,
that.
I've never paid to meet a celebrity ever. I will say I have waited in a few lines in my younger years. The Click 5 at the Springfield, Massachusetts Six Flags.
Love it there.
I waited in line at a Jonas Brothers meet and greet once, because like we just had one meet and greets and like I did have to wait in like it was kind of a line. So unfortunately I was 13 and I did have to wait in that line. But truly have never paid. So like don't ever
No.
assume that I have ever paid to meet any celebrity I've wanted ever because that is not the case. I will never pay to
So
meet a celebrity.
so we're standing in this line to meet Pierre. And we're both just kind of like, might swan dive off of this viewing platform
Also,
right
let's
now.
keep in mind we're second in they make us stand second in line.
Second in line behind
Second in
a
line.
child, behind this one boy child who is also so boldly wearing a full Ferrari outfit.
I loved him for it.
He was so bold and brave. But they were like, you guys can be right after him. And we're like, oh my God. Also, meanwhile, keep in mind, the entire team that we are with, the entire Venetian team, knows about our inside joke that Pierre is our number one fan.
Yeah.
So they're all like, you got to talk to him about it. Like, you got to get like a photo, like, you got to tell him about this. You got to get into his post Vegas dump. And we were like, okay, we'll talk to him about it. But we're like, well, now we're in line.
Now we're
So,
in line. Now it's
so
not
we,
well, also we're like, we don't the people before us went up and it was like a photo and one and done. So we were
yeah,
like,
so we're
we
all
don't
in line. Pierre's not here yet. We're in line. We're standing there. Everyone's hyping us up. We're like, guys, we're so embarrassed right now. Please stop. Mom, you're embarrassing me.
Mom, you're embarrassing me.
So finally, they're like, okay, Pierre's here. Pierre's here. He comes in. He goes up to this little stage and he just stands there and poses for photos. So there's paparazzi basically. There's everyone there just taking photos of him. He's just standing on the stage. He doesn't say anything. He says no words. He's just barely smiling.
We
And
can
we all look at each other and we go, he does not want to be here.
he
And
hates his
we
life.
have to be participating in what he doesn't want to be at. And so we're like, oh my God. So then the
So we're
people
obviously not bringing up a fucking joke.
right, like I'm not gonna like chat with him. So the people go up in front of us and then they're like, all right, girls, your turn. And we're like, oh God. So we walk up and Pierre just holds his fist out for a fist bump. Clearly body language saying, do not touch me. You can bump my fist and that's it. Like, I'm not shaking your hand. I'm not hugging you. Just fist bump me and take this picture and get out of
Let's
here.
be clear, I didn't want to
So,
hug, but I would have taken a handshake.
right. So I was like, okay. So I'm like, hey, we get up there, we take a couple photos, and he's like, all right, thanks. And Nicole's like, good luck this weekend. And we walk off the stage. I blacked out. I was like, I can't stay up here any longer. I can't make any conversation with this man because he does not want me to be here right now.
Mm-mm.
So we go over there, and everyone swarms us immediately. And they're like, did you do it? Like, guys, did you see us out there for 0.2 seconds? No, we didn't do it. We were in line. There's people behind us. There's people behind us in line. I can't be the line holder
If
upper. Like, what
you're
do you
in
mean?
line to embarrass Pierre on the Venetian stand, stay in line.
Like, So they go, oh, you should have done it. Like, you should have done it. So we're like, oh, whatever. No. So we're still staying there like until the thing is over. And so one girl from the team comes out to us and goes, oh, I did just talk to his team and I told them that you guys got a little embarrassed and that, or you guys got a little shy and you didn't, and you wanted to talk to him about something else. And I was like, you did not.
You did not. Mom, you're embarrassing me.
Mom, you're really embarrassing me now. I was like, I actually have to go, but I couldn't go anywhere because my feet hurt so bad. So I was rooted to the spot. The girl was in too much pain to move, so we had to stay in there for the rest of the time. And she's like, yeah, they said that like you should have said something, he would have talked to you about it. And they said there's maybe like another opportunity like later on, like after he finishes photos, you stay around. I'm like, oh my god, if Pierre comes out does like, heard you got a little shy, did you have something to say? Like I would actually have to swan dive off of the platform. Like I would be like, actually, this is my 13th reason, I gotta go now. Luckily he did not come back up to us. He did just fully
He
leave.
said
um
bye. But then he did play.
he said,
He did.
stay shy, girls, stay shy,
He
don't
said
bring it up.
he did get P3
He did, and that's
in
after Nicole
qualifying,
said
and so
good luck.
I'd like to say that was because of us.
I think
Um,
so.
so Pierre, you should have come over and talked to us because maybe we would have started
But the one thing I will say is shout out to everyone who flooded the comments with so many things about Pierre meeting us. He didn't see it, like it, or respond. However, we appreciated it.
You know what? And the best part about this bid is that it lives on an infamy and it doesn't even have to have a rightful conclusion. It just needs to live
Needs to
on
live
in
on.
perpetuity because I'll never give up the fan that Pierre is our number one fan. Like that's my favorite. It's one of my favorite running jokes on this
100%.
podcast. And one day, one day when we have 10 million followers, Pierre will hear about it, and we'll be friends with him, and
We'll
he'll
all
like
be having a laugh about it.
we'll be having a chuckle. We'll have a row about it. It'll be great. But until then, we can continue on with the bit that he is our number one fan. And actually, that's all I really want. Like, what if we had talked about it and he was like, actually, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about? Then we have to end the bit, Now
Now we can still pretend that he knows.
now we can still pretend.
Like, imagine if you're like, yeah, you have to put us in your dump, and he was like, no, I'm sorry, it's simply not going to do that. Okay, but imagine, oh my gosh, I didn't even like think of that as a possibility. I was so delusional that I thought this would work out. Can you imagine if we had actually talked to him about this and he literally said no? Like, I actually, it's a shame that I can't be making jokes about wanting to swan dive off because I do have to stay alive for at least 360 more days to see Wicked Part 2.
You're so
But
right.
after that, it would be over.
Yeah, so that was our
I just got like I just got secondhand embarrassment for alternate reality us in which that just happened.
I feel like he would just be like, I don't understand what you're saying. He'd be like,
I'm sorry, I don't
parlez-vous,
speak English.
parlez-vous français? And I'd be like, no.
No parle Inglés. I'd be like, yeah, that's fair. That's super fair, actually.
I'm literally crying. It was, you know what though? It was a really fun little bit of the weekend.
Yeah, it was.
So it is what it is. Pierre, I think actually, here's what happened. Alternate universe. Pierre got a little shy.
That's what he left after.
Yeah, Pierre actually got a little shy because he was like so overwhelmed that he was meeting the two girls.
100%.
That he was like, well, I can't bother them. Like I know that they are like they have things to do, they have places to be. Like I simply can't waste their time. So I have to leave. I'll see them again soon.
He knows.
He knows.
He's like, well, I mean, he's the reason we're working with Alpine. He was like, you guys have to work with.
Of course, he put in a good
dogs.
word for sure. For sure.
So,
wait. Okay, speaking of Venetian and Alpine, this is triggering something for me. Part of during the weekend after we left the garage tour, I lost my wallet.
Oh my
okay.
God.
At some point, my wallet.
This story is a story of girlhood. Let me tell you.
We were walking in through the garage, and you have to swipe in with your key cards, and so I was like checking to see if I had one, and I was like, no, we got to text the group. Someone's got to come down and swipe us in. And so at some point, I think I had gone to put my wallet back in my pocket, and it just missed, and it wasn't there. So we get up to the front desk, and I'm like, oh, I'll grab some more keys. No one has to come down and get us. I have my ID. I'm patting myself down, patting all my pockets, pulling everything out. I'm like, I don't have my wallet. I don't have my wallet. It's day one in Vegas, and I don't have my wallet. So also keep in mind, Kate and I had to walk to and from the paddock back to the hotel because the shuttles were not really running because there was too much traffic, and we had not worn appropriate shoes for this because we thought we were going to take the shuttle.
No, we thought we were taking a shuttle. First of all, man gets on the shuttle.
Yeah, first of all.
He says, I don't want to scare you guys, and I was like, are you going to murder me? Like,
no, it was like,
what?
he did a deep sigh, and he was like, I don't want to scare you guys, but
I said, I am scared.
I am scared now.
Like that. Big pause.
Big
said,
pause.
Traffic is really bad. It'll take me an hour to get you to the paddock, or you can walk and it'll take 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, wish you had just led with that. But we were like, all right, I guess we're walking. Horrible. Just so bad. So bad. Horrible shoe choices. Thought we were going to be on a shuttle. So we're walking back. We have to walk all the way there. It's like a mile. We're walking back, and I simply can't do it anymore. I was like, Nicole, I think I'm bleeding. Like, my foot is like bleeding off. So Nicole, I was like, these shoes are plastic, and I'm sweating, and I have blisters. So Nicole takes off her socks, gives them to me, puts her shoes back on without socks, and we're hobbling our way back to a mile back to the Venetian. Me in socks, Nicole in sockless shoes.
Yeah.
And we finally make it so close. And then Nicole says, I don't have my wallet. So you have to turn around. We are retracing our steps.
So
all of a sudden, my feet are numb. I can't even feel them anymore. I feel no pain because I know the terrors of losing your wallet on
her adrenaline was through the roof. They said, we got to find this wallet.
I said, I'll be doing anything I can to find this wallet.
So Kate basically, like, Kate goes down in one of the elevators to go back to the garage, and I'm like, I'm going to try and get the elevator that we came up in to see if it's like maybe still on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I keep getting the same fucking elevators over and over again. And I'm just like, okay, there's a valet desk. And I'm like, all right, we're in Vegas, and I feel like this is such a slim chance, but I'm going to go ask the valet desk and see if anyone has turned in a wallet. And so I literally go up, and I'm like, guys, has anyone turned in a wallet? And they're like, what color was it? And I was like, salmon. Like, it's like a coral. It's like this big. And they're like, was it red? And I was like, no, it was like a salmon coral color. And they're like, okay, I think that's what it was. And they're like, security just took it down to the desk, so you got to go to the cage. And I said,
cage.
I said, what the fuck is the cage? I was like, I pretended like I knew what that was. They just told me the directions. And I was like, I think the cage is the cashier. I think. I'm using my brain. So I get over there. I text Kate. I'm like, Kate, security has it. Come back wherever you are. Kate's already hoofed it half a mile away from the hotel.
In socks, carrying my shoes. I look like the freaking penguin. I'm walking, if anyone has seen it since I've talked about it the past few weeks, I'm walking like the penguin. I'm literally shuffling my feet. I'm like just absolutely hobbling. There's no other word for hobbling down the street. I'm getting yelled at by people for like crossing the street too many times. I don't have shoes on. I've made it like half a mile. I'm so far gone, looking everywhere we've been for this wallet. Nicole's like, they got it, you can come back. So I turn around again, and I again hobble my way back, and I was like, I'm about to crawl on my knees the remainder of this way and be arrested. I was honestly begging to be arrested so that they would just drive me
you
back
in a cop car.
Put me in the cage. I was like, please, for the love of God, get me off my feet. I'm dying.
So I get down to the security desk, and I walk up, and I'm walking up, and they go, well, if it isn't Nicole. I'm like, hey guys, heard you have my wallet. And he's like, yeah, I'm pulling out all your cards now to document it. And then
well, if it isn't Nicole. You didn't tell me that part. That's so funny.
It was really funny. And then the security guard, and I have to say, I have to shout out Dion at the Venetian security desk. Thank you so much. He was like, I have to ask, what is Two Girls One Formula? Because I as I had our business credit cards, and I was like, we have a F1 podcast, and he's like, should I? I'm about to go on break. Should I listen to it? And I was like, yeah, I think we're pretty funny. I think you'll like it.
It's sweet. You'll like it.
And then he was like, he's like, I hate to tell you this. And I said, what? And he said, one of your cards was sticky. And I said, you're lying to me right now. You're lying. You say you're lying. Say psych right now. And he's like, no, I'm not. And the other guy sitting next to him was like, he's not lying. I touched it too. And I was like, guys, what do you mean? And then they're like, I wiped it off for you. But I was like, I'm really embarrassed. I don't know what it could have possibly been. But now upon further inspection, there was a little bit still left on the card, and I think it was maple syrup from room service earlier that day. I think that's what it had to have been because like it couldn't have been anything else. So I think it was just a little maple syrup. But I was like, guys, I'm horrified that my cards were sticky. That's disgusting. Okay, I'm really sorry. This is not me. But let's just say God was winking at me this weekend in Vegas, and I used up all of my luck getting my wallet back, and I won $0 on any gambling I did. So thank you, Dion. If you're listening to this episode, God bless you. I hope you are happy and healthy for as long as you have on this planet because you are doing God's work.
Oh my God, that's funny. Well. If it isn't Nicole.
It was really funny. It's just like, and I'm also kind of hobbling, to say the least. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of am like cowering up to the fucking security desk because I'm so embarrassed that I lost my wallet. Like, and you know what? The worst part is too is that like I actually wasn't stressed about it at all either.
No, you weren't. I was way more stressed
He
about
was
it than you
really
were.
stressed. I was like, oh, the worst part about this is that I have already gotten 2 new Chase credit cards in the past 2 months. I'm gonna have to call and cancel this one too. They're never gonna give me another credit card. That was the worst part. That's what I
You
was
would have
most
had
pissed
to be
off
a
about.
debit card girly only.
And then I was like, well, no, I'm not gonna be able to gamble anymore because I lost my ID. It was gonna be a whole thing.
It's going to be a whole thing. Oh my God, that's
But you know
so
what?
funny.
We survived. We persevered,
Yeah.
and we lived.
Vegas persisted, but so did we.
But so did we. All right. Let's see. One more question before we talk about the thing that we really want to talk about on this podcast. Someone said, what was the best thing you ate or drank this weekend?
The Wagyu sliders.
The Wagyu sliders were really good.
My mouth just started watering thinking about it. Actually, I feel like I didn't eat anything I didn't like this weekend.
No.
Like, so we, on Friday night at the Venetian viewing platform, it was a new, like, soon to open, upcoming restaurant opening.
Yeah.
Coat, which is in New York City, is also opening a location in the Venetian. And so they did a little takeover of the viewing platform on Friday. We got to go and try all of their new foods. And they did a Wagyu slider with like truffle butter or something
So
on it.
much truffle.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It was so good. I like actually couldn't stop thinking about it. And they had other meats that were just like so tender and delicious. And so that night was very delicious. But also the breakfast that we had on Saturday, my truffled toad in a
The
hole
toad in the hole.
was really, really, really good. We had like brie on it.
It was so tasty. I think we ate at Sugar Cane on Saturday. We got a full spread, which was delightful. I also really loved the chicken tenders from room service, guys. I'm
Oh my
not
God,
gonna
yeah.
lie to you. The
They
chicken
were
tenders
so
are really
good.
good. But
They were
also
good the next day.
I think Coat Night, I think the same night, they did a molten lava cake,
Mm,
which was also so good.
yeah. The
Um
best thing I drank, I think, was the watermelon gin drink, which I think was also Coat Night. So Coat Night kind of
Yeah, Coat
slapped.
Coat was definitely the best night. Oh god, it was so good. Also, I'm not gonna lie, the Fat Tuesday pina colada strawberry daiquiri mix we did also fucking slapped. Highbrow, lowbrow, you know?
We're women of the people. We are women of the people,
I
Nicole.
wish I truly wish also, oh my god, this just made me think about all of my hand modeling that I did. I can't wait to see the Alpine recaps of this. Um, but the food we had on Wednesday night at Wakuta was also so
So
good. The
good.
sushi, guys, I'm surprised that I don't have mercury poisoning with all of the sushi that I
No,
ate this
truly.
weekend. Like, I ate so much tuna. I am a tuna. Like, but it was all so delicious. I couldn't stop. I couldn't
No, I know.
stop. So, you know what? I wish that we had the opportunity to have eat at more restaurants in the Venetian. We just didn't like we simply
Yeah.
didn't have the time. But there was not a single bad thing that we ate this
No.
weekend.
Nope, not at all.
And that's what you missed on Vegas. Now, I think there's another topic that you really want to talk about.
I have to talk about it. We must speak on Wicked.
We must speak on it.
We're getting into Wicked. Please don't listen along if you have A, not seen the movie, or B, do not know the story, have not seen the
Yeah,
musical, because there will be spoilers.
spoilers ahead.
And it's the only thing on my brain, actually. Like, recording the rest, like the earlier part of this podcast was tough for me because I was actually having to reach deep into the recesses of my memory to like remember who I was at that time, because I'm changed. I've been
Your B
changed
it's
for the
it's
better.
BW and AW.
Yeah, like I've been changed for good, for the better, for sure.
For
Um
for good, for sure.
for good, for sure, for the better.
Yeah.
Um I am so deeply in love with Wicked as a musical. Like, it has meant so much to me for so many long years. And
Seeing it come to life on the screen like that, I was so emotional. Like, I
I
don't
so here's the thing is I've been trying to like hold off my like I haven't been able to jump in too much yet because I was
Mhm,
like I don't know, like I'm worried. I'm just kind of worried about how it's going to be. You never know when
mhm.
something you love so much gets, the movie makeover treatment. You know what I mean? Like, if you read a book and there's a movie about it, like I feel like I can't get my hopes up too much.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know about Ariana. Like, I was just kind of like the whole thing. I was just like, I'm not mentally ready yet to like dive in. Um, because I was kind of scared. But then, it premiered and it got really great reviews and people were
Yeah.
saying amazing. And I was like starting to see all like the trailers. When the trailers started coming out, I was getting excited. And I was like, okay, I know that when this happens, like I have a very soul focused personality, very
Mhm.
addictive personality. So I was like, the minute that I flip the switch on being like in to Wicked now, like in on this movie magic, that's the only thing I'm going to be able to think about. So I was like, I
Yeah.
got to get through Vegas before I like really kind of attach myself to this.
Yeah.
So the minute I was done in Vegas, the moment I stepped onto the airplane, I said, it's time. I'm listening to the movie soundtrack. And I immediately started crying. First notes, I was sobbing. And I listened exclusively to that album eight eight or nine times in a row on my flight home, and I cried the entire way. I just kept crying because I was like, "Oh my god, these are amazing." Like, I was very worried that they were going to maybe try to like modernize
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
was like really worried that they were gonna give it like a movie treatment and like make the songs a little more like modern or like
Yeah.
poppy or something. And I was like, please, God, no. But they were so good. And they were like, I mean, they did make some slight changes, like the note changes that like
Mhm.
Ariana and Cynthia did are like phenomenal. And it was just so good. And I was just like crying on the plane. And I said, I actually have to go see Wicked immediately upon returning home. And so I went last night, and it was just everything that I could have ever hoped or dreamed for.
It was so good. I also cried like the entire time, but for me it was just like it is so nostalgic and I just feel like I love art and it felt like this was such a beautiful work of art where everyone involved cared so deeply about how
Yes.
it was gonna turn out in the
Yes.
sense where I was like, I know that these people like want to create the best version of this and love this story and they love the rendition of this. And so I
Yes.
was like, I'm really just like, I love seeing people do things that they love. And to
Yes.
me, that was watching Wicked. And
Yes. And I
I,
love that it wasn't like they didn't like obviously anyone that steps into these roles or these characters or this story wants to make it their own. But I
yeah,
really appreciated that they were like, we don't want to make it out like this is not about us. This is about like the story. And we're gonna bring our own takes to it, but we're not gonna like, totally differentiate it from anything else anyone's
yeah,
ever seen. Like the care that they all took, and like you said, they just cared so much about this and they all had so much love for this story that they wanted to do it justice. And I felt like you could very much tell that this was not a project that like they weren't doing it for themselves, they were doing it for the good of the project. And it was just like, oh my god, it was so good. And like it was just, yeah, it was beautiful. It's such a beautiful story and it is so nostalgic. And it was just like, I also was like, okay, can everyone stop shitting on Ariana and Cynthia for crying in all their interviews? Because I would do the same.
I'm also
I'm crying
crying.
every time I think about this movie. So, and I wasn't in it and I didn't experience the making of this movie. So, like, if I was them, I would also be crying all the time. So, leave the girls alone. We're all
Literally.
crying.
The biggest thing for me though is that I have been obviously this Wicked is based off of a book,
Yeah.
right? Now, do you know anything about this book?
Yeah, my mom wouldn't let me read it because she was like, this book is so dark and so
Uh,
scary. And
and you
like,
know
you're not,
what? She's right for that. I've been
yeah,
seeing some of the shit. How the hell did they create this beautiful musical about resistance and friendship and, you know, loving yourself as you are out of this horny bestiality book?
because
Because
Nicole, theater kids made this.
it doesn't matter. No, because like how did you read this book and you were like, this needs to be a musical? I'm so sorry. Like at no point am I like, hey, those mafia books you're reading, they should be a musical. And then it's going to go on to be a Tony award-winning musical that someday is going to have a movie made out of it. It's just like,
Yeah.
girl, you're crazy for that one. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Whoever did that, that's crazy. But thank you so much because you gave us Defying Gravity and you made me have an emotional moment. And when Alfie and Fiero are rescuing the lion cub and she's like, maybe if I cared less, it wouldn't hurt as much. Or I was just like, I feel that deep in my bones. I feel that so, so
Hmm.
deeply. So I was just like, girl, I see you. I see you. You see me.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because a lot of people are like, art isn't political. Like, why are you guys making this movie political? I'm like, are you not watching this? This feels like this is what's happening. This is what's
Right.
happening in our real world, you guys. And you know what is also scary? Guess what? When the Wizard of Oz movie came out, same year World War II started. So I'm
Yeah.
not feeling very good that we're on the precipice of fascism taking over the world. And also we have a new Wizard of Oz movie to watch. So like that's
Yeah.
kind of making me a little unsettling, but I will be singing Defying Gravity through it all
And I will be watching this movie
on repeat.
15 times in the theater. And you guys know that's big for me because you
Huge.
know that I do
I
not like going to
know.
the theater.
You do.
But I'm going on Friday with my mom, and I am going in a couple weeks with my friends, and I'm gonna go probably by myself a couple times. It was just so good. And let me tell you, Ariana Grande.
She did that.
She did that. And the thing that was so insane about her work in this is that I literally did forget that that was Ariana Grande.
I
Like
know.
it's like that's her, but I was not thinking like, oh, that's Ariana Grande playing Glitter. Like she did so freaking amazing that like literally an Ariana Grande song came on today and I was like,
Turn
this
it
is
off.
jarring. This is jarring. Who's this woman? Who is this woman? No. And I was just like, I actually only need her to see her in musicals for the rest of time because like she was so good and
Did you see
she
that
just did such
interview?
a great job.
Did you see that interview with Kristen Chenoweth where she was talking about how Ariana came to see her? I think they're like family friends or something, but she came to see her when she was like 10 and she was
Mhm.
playing Wicked and she's like, I want to play Glinda someday. And then she's like, she called me when she got the part and like we were just like so happy. And then we went to go see the screening and she turned to me and she goes, Are you proud of me?
No, like
But once again, also, I'm not really sure what she's seeing in SpongeBob.
you know,
He came on the
Nicole,
screen and I said, She home wrecked
Nicole,
that? She
here's the
home
thing.
wrecked for that.
Here's the thing. Were you ever a theater kid?
No.
Then you don't get it. Then actually you
Actually,
don't get it
I can't
because
speak
let me
on it.
tell
You're
you,
so right.
crazier things have happened when you're in a musical. When you're in a musical,
There's one straight
let
man.
me tell you, every man is looking good. Every straight man's looking real good. The gay men are looking better, but the straight men, you're like, I guess this is where I'm at, and they're all
Slim
looking.
pickings.
There is something about being in a
You really
musical.
got my ass on that one, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
like there's something about as a former theater kid, there is something about being in a musical. The status quo is gone. We learned this in High School Musical. The status quo is gone in a musical, and everyone is 150% hotter than they are in real life.
Yeah, it's so fair.
They're doing their little twirls, they're singing, they're dancing, and they're really hot. So I am absolutely so unsurprised that this happened. Like, I
And
actually,
she was
after doing this, I was like, I actually kind of get it,
she
Ari.
was in
Like,
a
I
real
get it.
vulnerable state too, you know, it was extra hard. She was like she was
Yeah,
primed and
you're
ready. Yeah.
always in a vulnerable state in a musical because you're acting and there's long hours. You're staying until the routine is clean. Like, you're bringing out all your emotions. They're like, actually remember all the horrible things that have happened to you because you might need to cry here, or like you need to look sad. And he's there and she's going through things and he's there. And I'm so unsurprised. Like, I understand this relationship of hers more than any of the others she's ever been in. This is
I'm
actually the only one that makes
crying.
sense for me right
I'm
now.
crying. Okay, perfect.
So don't you don't you dare say anything else against her.
You're so right. You're so right. You're so right. That's on me. I'll never speak on it again. All right, my mom is calling me up for dinner, so I have to go.
We'll continue the Wicked conversations. I feel like I'm going to
This
be talking about this for a long
this is
time,
definitely not the end of the Wicked
especially we
conversation.
have part 2 next year. So I'll be talking about it from now until then and probably for a year after that.
Yeah.
Although I do want to bring up one quick thing
Yeah.
that I'm not happy about, I don't think,
Okay.
in relation to Wicked. Well, I was reading every article today that has come out about Wicked, every review, every like think piece, everything.
Mhm.
And I saw this theory that someone was like, "Oh, they are bringing Dorothy more into movie 2 than they do like in the musical, like we
Yeah.
think, and they're gonna see how that plays." And they're like, people are thinking that they're gonna probably try to do a Wizard of Oz remake,
Mm.
kind of more in the context of
Wicked.
Wicked, where
Mm.
like kind of you're kind of like, yo, Dorothy, you're actually kind of a fucking murderer, dude.
Yeah.
And like, what's going on? So but then you think about it, and I'm just not excited about that. Like, I'm like, let Wicked kind of stand on its own. Like, it
Mhm.
doesn't, like, it's fun that there are these, like, Easter eggs and callbacks to The Wizard of Oz, but I don't think that we need, like, a Wizard of Oz remake. Like, we don't need to make this, like, a cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Like, because then what? You're gonna either have Ariana and Cynthia back to play their roles and Jonathan Bailey come back, like everyone come back to play their roles, but it's not Wicked, it's not like their piece, it's about this other thing, or are you gonna like recast them and then like
Mhm.
that just like I just feel like it feels icky and I
Yeah.
hope that they don't do it.
No, that's so fair. It's also like what? They're gonna be like fucking 50 by the time that movie comes out. You know what I mean?
Right. So then I'm like, okay, they're gonna recast it again. And then like I don't know, it just feels like
There are apparently new original songs in the second movie though.
I did hear that, 2 of them.
So,
Very
pretty
excited.
excited about that.
Very excited.
All right, fam.
Anyways,
This has been a fun episode. Kate and I literally planned to talk for 30 minutes because we were so tired, but obviously you know how that goes.
Never works.
So everyone enjoy their holiday. If you are in the US, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys all overdose on turkey and your favorite sides. And we'll see you next week. But until then,
we'll see you on the internet.
We'll see you on the internet. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of TG1F, an F1 podcast with Kate and Nicole.
If you like what you heard, don't miss out on the fun between episodes.
Keep up with the chaos on Instagram at 2 Girls 1 Formula. That's spelled out TWO Girls numerical 1 Formula.
And check out our website, 2girls1formula.com, to shop cute fan-made F1 merch.
See you next week.
But like we said, in the meantime, we'll see you on the internet.